Welcome to the website for Name One, an acronym which stands for New American Mentor Equipping Institute. We are the practicum training vehicle for the Sea Star Mariners. If you haven't already done so, we hope you'll visit their site, which will shed light on who the Mariners are and some of the identity terminology we use. Our goal is to mentor our students, whom we call the bosuns, in the process of self-discovery, utilizing Yahuwah's perspective as revealed in Scripture, which will enable them to discover what his team of emissaries do and which role in the team dynamic they have, and how to develop their potential, utilizing the metaphorical role models of the living creatures, lions, eagles, and oxen, that the prophets of old spoke about and related to individual personality traits and weaknesses, recognized today as ambassadors, our emissaries of reconciliation, warriors, our political advocacy arm, and consuls, our business and educational representatives. Understanding these ideas will help one relate to and be a complement to all the personality traits comprising the others in the team. We hope you want to be one of the bosuns, because the most important aspect of our goal is to enable you to see how important of a plus you could be. For without someone like you, teams Yeshua wants to feel in the Verde Valley would be incomplete. However, one will soon discover that one is not just important because of your potential, but because of the fullness of the personality trait you allow Yahushua to develop in you. Without him, we can do nothing, at least as far as his kingdom is concerned. But through him, you can be an integral part of the restoration he envisions here in the valley. Eventually, we will recognize that he is the one who gives us any significance that counts. And for this, we will realize that he is truly the only plus one that matters. I've used some references here from a video on the Sea Star Mariner Ports of Call entitled 3 Living Creatures Plus One. If you haven't visited it already, the link is below. Perhaps a little history would be in order. Since we've talked of vision and how it is achieved, it might make sense to describe the evolution of the application of this vision. The vision itself came from the book of Micah, a prophet of the 5th century BCE, which described what Yahuwah intended to do at some point in time of mankind's future history. He said he would gather the lame, outcast, and those whom he had afflicted into one people and make of them a strong nation. We have been led to this particular prophet for intense study, and many wonderful truths were discovered, one of which was that the fulfillment of that prophecy for this season of our history was near at hand, and that the emphasis of this gathering would be towards the indigenous peoples of the Southwest. The original acronym stood for Native American Mentor Equipping Institute. However, it soon became apparent that a new vision required a new approach from both the native and Anglo cultures if any success is to be achieved. Another prophet, Ezekiel, spoke of a time when Yahweh would gather the divided camps of Judah and Ephraim and make them one in his hand. If one knows the history of these two tribes of Israel, it would not be difficult to envision them as being easily symbolic of the native and Anglo cultures of America. The clashes between these two cultures started in the East and more or less ended in the Southwest. It makes sense, considering the proverb concerning the first becoming last and the last becoming the first, to not only recognize the indigenous peoples as being the first who became last, and that the place to start the reconciliation would be where the last conflict occurred. It also makes sense to begin with the lame, the outcast, and the afflicted from both cultures. Yahuwah also promised through these prophets concerning those who trod upon others causing them to become lame, a term which conveys not being able to function as one would expect, and therefore becoming outcast from the dominant society, that he would deal with them, causing the curse of lack that they caused come down upon their own heads in his own way. That is not our work. That is his, and his alone. One can't help but wonder if the financial debacle of 2008 was not the beginning of the fulfillment of that curse. If so, our responsibility is to bring healing and to restore vision to those trodden upon and to those who have been lamed by the recent economic difficulty. So the call is to those who would be new Americans, the lame, outcast, and afflicted of both the indigenous and Anglo cultures. Now that we've dealt with the new American portion of the acronym, the mentor equipping phrase has just as much of a dynamic effect. The Institute is not designed to be the sole producers of new Americans. Each graduate will be given the responsibility as well as the ability to mentor others to Yahweh's vision of unity and peace, to the environment through men of goodwill. The goal is to become qualified as a quartermaster in a new satellite chapter of the Mariners. Technology is truly our friend in this regard. We have a dedicated server which can be accessed by password, which is given to all Name 1 students. As new bosuns and bosuns mates are recruited, they will have access to the courses offered in Name 1, while under the tutelage of their mentor. Articles below will cover issues of cost and tuition, core studies, the practicum, educational, and environmental courses. You will be trained to be proficient in mentoring. Oh yes, we've added a couple of samples of our contrarian view to the conclusions presented by atheist scientist cosmology, exposing their agenda and errors of logic. Sadly, you will discover that not only have the lobbyists of financial and business agendas put a less than true spin on information to support themselves, but that theologians and scientists have also done their share of manipulating supposed facts, deceiving the public trust to garner political and economic advantages as well. They wanted to dominate our thoughts, enabling them to control our social, economic, and environmental views. And they think they've done very well in that regard, but not well enough. Rising from the smoldering ruins of man's economic ambitions comes forth that which cannot be ignored. All systems are designed to work in harmony with one another. If one system is too strong or rigid, it will crush the parts around it. And if one is too weak, it cannot support the intricacies of the unit, and a failure of the system may result. There are many backups to our biorhythm of life, far too complex for chance to have had any hand in evolving such intricacies. Yet these too can be overridden through ignorance and blind ambition. Justice and logic, the doing of what is right, must prevail if we are to formulate a good path for our future. The new Americans do not believe that people should fight over ideas, as in Republican versus Democrat, conservative versus liberal, but that ideas should mirror the principle of justice for all people of goodwill. We want to be known as people of goodwill, not people of a vested interest group. We hope that this special appeal strikes a chord with you and that you'll aspire to being a mentor of this righteous cause. Shalom, O person of goodwill.